Today I'm going to be working on this 2010 Mercedes C300. Going to be changing the ignition coils and spark plugs. This car's got 197,000 miles on it. I've owned it since about 40,000 miles and I've never done this, so it's running fine. I'm not having any issues, but it's well past where it needs to be for spark plugs to be changed, so I'm going to go ahead and do it. The first thing I got to do is remove the cover here that's on the engine, and then underneath that we'll be able to see the ignition coils, and then under the ignition coils we'll be able to get to the spark plugs. So first thing, so this should lift off. Let's go ahead and get that out of the way. Next thing is that these likely will have to be disconnected. So they connect here. There's a clip which it's a little hard to see on this, but there's a clip that grabs there, and you can see it here. And so you got one of these on the bottom, one of them on the top. Just push down on those and then pull it away. You should be able to get it out. And for this cover here, there is a fastener here, I guess, that you just have to push back on. So that should be enough to be able to then pull up and pull away the engine cover. And the air filters are actually under there too. On either side you have air filters, but you need to remove a bunch of screws to be able to get those. I'm not going to do that today, but that's where those are. All right, so here is the intake again, just to show one side. There was the connection on the top, which you can push down on to try to get it loose. And then there is also, you can see a hole here on the bottom. So you got the same thing on the bottom. So that's what's holding this on here. And then here, this is just pushed on and then comes off. Took a little force, but you can see this little bump here ends up mating with this little bump here, and that's what keeps it stuck on there. So I'm going to go ahead and take the other side off. I haven't done that yet, and then I'm going to go ahead and pull the whole thing off. So let me get to that. So I've loosened this part here. Right now it should be able to come out. So the way I did that, had one hand over here, one hand over here, and pulled up on it, and then you could hear the clips disengage. This has, I'll get in there to show you where the front clips are. So there's one clip here, and I know it's kind of hard to see, but that clip hooks onto this rubber thing here. And then you have to remember you've got your vacuum hose right here to your vacuum pump. So that's easy, just pops on and off, no retainers at all. And then I'll have to figure out what that just was, but sounds like that's one of the clips in the back that just fell down. So let me figure out where the clips in the back are, so we can make sure we get them back to where they need to be. Okay, so I was able to find the clip that I dropped right here. It dropped from the back here. So right now this is upside down. This goes right over the throttle body, right back there. And you can see this is the one that fell off, but there's these clips that are in 4 places. So I was able to show you the one all the way in the front that you could see, or actually it was this one, and then there's 2 more in the back, and they are going over the same kind of little rubber thing here, little thing to fasten them down too. So you got one in the back on either side. So really just pulling the way I was in the front, and then pulling a little straight up and towards the front in the back will get it off. Okay, so with the cover off, you can see you've got your ignition coils. You've got 3 on one side, 3 on the other, making up your 6 cylinders. So the first thing you can do is go ahead and with a T30 bit, you can loosen and remove the bolts. So you got 2 bolts on each one. The other thing we're going to have to do is remove this connector. So I'll figure out how that goes. On this side, same setup. Doesn't look like anything else has to be removed other than the bolts and the connectors. So I just want to show the connector and disconnecting that. So you got this gray piece here. It's supposed to slide back a little bit. If this is tough to move, be careful because you might break the end. So you can see the little gray piece from here and push it with the screwdriver. So now that you push that out of the way, there's a little black tab right behind it, right underneath it, that you can lift up a little bit. And then while you're lifting it up, you can pull the connector itself, which is right down here at the end, away. So then that should free it up. What happened on my first one is the actual ignition coil, because they've been in there for 150,000 miles, the end of the ignition coil actually came off with the connector. So so then I just pulled this piece out. So you can see this is what it should look like when the connector's off. And then just go ahead and do that for all 6. All right, so with the 2 bolts off, what I did is just turn this a little bit, just in case it's kind of tight on the spark plug below. So that'll help you be able to turn it, and then you can pull it up. So try to grab the, if you can, down there. You've got the rubber boot, so try to get a finger on either side of the rubber boot, and then you should be able to pull it up. Sometimes the boot separates from the head of the ignition coil, so if that happens, then you'll just have to grab like needle nose pliers or something to grab onto the boot and pull it out. But there you go, there's your first coil off and your spark plug down there. So I'll go ahead and remove the spark plug, and probably all 3 coils first, and then remove all 3 spark plugs, and then start the process of putting in the new ones. Before I take out the spark plugs, I was just looking to see if there was the information for gapping the spark plugs and maybe the torque for the spark plugs. So in the manual towards the end, it does have vehicle specifications for the C300 and engine C300 right here. So here's some basic information, but on the next page it continues, and you can see electrical system C300, and then they give you the spark plug gap of 0.031 inches, and then the spark plug torque of 15 to 18 foot-pounds. So that's the information I needed to be able to gap the spark plugs, so we're going to go ahead and do that. So here's my spark plug. This is my new one. Just pulled it out of the box, and then here's my spark plug gap tool. So it says 0.031 inches is what we were looking for. So I went ahead and got the 0.030, and we're going to go ahead, there we go, and put it in. So it does grab a little bit, so I'm not even going to bother making an adjustment because it's at 30 now, and another 1/1000th of an inch is not going to hurt anything if I'm at 30 instead of 31. Plus I don't have a way to measure 0.031 because usually these go in 5,000 increments, so I'll stick with the 030 measurement this one has, which actually came out of the box like that, so that's good. So I didn't need to make an adjustment. But if you do need to make an adjustment, you've got this little tab here on the back, and that can grab the spark plug like so, and you can push down on it, and that'll go ahead and bring the gap down further, or you can grab it and pull away, and that'll open up the gap. So you've got those two options. So that's pretty much it. I'll go ahead and check all the others and make any adjustments if I need to. So I'm going to go ahead now and start taking out the spark plug. So I'm going to start here at the front. So I've got a 5/16 deep socket here, and a long extension. So just go ahead, get your socket set in right around your plug, and then go ahead and loosen it up. It shouldn't be torqued super tight, so like we saw, 15 to 18 foot-pounds was what the Mercedes recommended. I don't think these were ever done. These should be all the originals. So over time, I'm sure that changes, but it shouldn't be too difficult to break them free. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then pull it out, and then we'll take a look at it. Okay, so I went ahead and loosened up that spark plug. It really wasn't too tight, so that was good. So then the spark plug is sitting in there because it doesn't want to come up with the socket. So one thing you can do is put Vaseline in the socket, and that'll actually hold the spark plug to the socket so it can pull out. The other thing you can do if you pulled out the ignition coil is just go ahead and stick the ignition coil in there a little bit, and then it'll grab on and pull it out. So there you go. So here's what this looks like. And again, I'm pretty sure these are the original spark plugs at 197,000 miles. If not, then they might have been changed at 40,000 miles. So they at least have 150,000 miles on them, at most 197. So so that's that. I'll go ahead and I'll drop in the new ones, but I'm just going to take out the other two first, and then gap the other two, and then go ahead and pull out put in the new ones. So I'm getting ready to put the first spark plug in. So I took the old ignition coil, just put the spark plug on the end, put a little anti-seize on the threads, and then I'm going to go ahead and just put it in there and start the threads. And then after that, I'll go ahead and grab the wrench and socket, the ratchet and socket, and tighten them down. So here I've got the ignition coil. Now that the plugs are in, so the ignition coil, that's all black on the top, that's the new one. It's the Delphi. And then the old one, it's tough to see, but that's actually a Delphi also. So made me feel good. Then we're putting Delphis back in, and likely these were the original, so Delphi was used originally. So I'm going to go ahead, take the new one. I did put a little dielectric grease at the end, so that's going to keep the boot from really sticking to the spark plug over time, and you'll be able to take it on and off as you need. So go ahead and just get in here, slide the boot over, and then just work it back and forth a bit. And then if you pull up, you'll feel that it's grabbed on there. So then the next thing, just go ahead and put those 2 screws back, and then you can go ahead and plug it in. So that's that for putting in the coils. I'll do all 3 on this side, and then I'll get to the other side as well. All right, so I just want to share where I was having a little bit of struggle. So the spark plugs in the cylinder in the middle on either side were getting tighter as I was going to the left, which they were just kind of binding up. I thought maybe it was cross-threaded, but could have also been like corrosion since the spark plugs were in there for so long, because this is a 2010 C300. So first thing I did was spray some liquid wrench into the spark plug well there, and then tried to see if that would help after about 10-15 minutes. Didn't really help much. So the next thing I figured was just to heat it up. So the best way to heat it up would be just to run the engine. So I ran the engine for 15 minutes, got the temperature gauge up to temperature, and then came around and checked. And that actually did it. That allowed me to have the expansion of the threaded areas between each other to be able to loosen up the plug. So if you have a little bit of trouble, they feel like you're loosening them, they feel like they're getting tighter and tighter, go ahead and run the engine, bring the car up to temperature, and then come back and try to loosen them. So they were still a little snug when I was trying to loosen them, but they definitely weren't binding. So so it's good. So I got them. I just put the spark plug in there, getting ready to go ahead and torque that one to the 15 to 18 foot-pounds. I set the wrench to 18, so that should be fine. And then I'll drop the ignition coil on, and then we'll go ahead and do the same on the other side for the center cylinder, and then we'll get the cover on, and then we should be all set. So we're all done now. All 6 ignition coils and spark plugs are in place, and I just need to put the cover back on, which I'm not even going to show. It's pretty easy. Like I said before, you got your little mounts in the back that the clips go on, and then you've got one here in the front and one here in the front. Don't forget to put your vacuum hose line back onto the cover, and that's it. So hopefully this helped. Thanks for watching.